Hello and welcome to another edition of Sports Mag. I'm Laura Kuchkowski, and beside me is the beautiful Allie Monroy.
Thanks, Laura. Well, it's finally springtime here in Boulder, and we all know what that means.
Oh, suntanning outside with the lacrosse team?
Well, maybe, I guess if that's what you're into. But it's the time of year we begin to think about upcoming championships and tournaments.
And of course, honoring our seniors who have committed so much time and effort into being a Buff. So let's start off with basketball. During the men's basketball game last Saturday, all four of the teen seniors were honored before and after the game. Seniors Brett Brady, Eli Stalzer, Xavier Talton, Josh Scott were all recognized for their hard work on and off the court for the last 4 years. The team played the Arizona State Sun Devils and came away with a win for the seniors at their final home game at Coors Event Center. We wish them all the best of luck in the future and thank them for their time and extremely hard work here at CU.
Colorado came out with a big win against the Arizona State Sun Devils during their final game of the season, their final home game of the season. Before the game, senior Xavier Talton sent Scott a text saying, "We're going to go out winners." And then that they did. Josh Fortune scored 17 points, Josh Scott had 15, and Trayshawn Fletcher added 13 points, connecting on all 3 of his 3-point tries.
In total, the Buffs came together to score 79 points while the Sun Devils trailed by 10. This win actually tied the school record for the most regular season wins. The Buffs won 16 out of their 17 home games this year. Colorado had a 14-point lead during the beginning of the game, but Arizona State did not give up. They fought back to trail 38-35 at the half, but the Buffs were on fire and they did not surrender their well-deserved win.
Coach Tad Boyle believes that it was a great win, but still thinks that it wasn't the prettiest of wins, which is something he has continued to say throughout the season. The Buffs head to Utah on Saturday to play their final regular season game, and we are wishing them the best of luck.
Well, following the game against ASU, Coach Tad Boyle addressed the media about his excitement for the future of this team and what still lies ahead for our Buffs.
The fun part of the season as you come down the stretch. One more regular season game, conference tournament, postseason play. We've got room for improvement. We can get better than the way we play today. But I love this team. I've said it from day one. I love what they're about. And those 4 seniors, you know, if there's one thing they all have in common, it's a high degree of character.
Men's basketball is headed to Utah on Saturday in hopes of getting payback and a win on the Utes' home court. Last time the Buffs played Utah, they lost 56-54 at Coors Event Center. If the Buff want the win, I have 3 key tips that might help. Number 1, might help them win. Number 1, the Buffs need to keep their lead. Last time they played Utah, the Utes overcame a 9-point deficit in the second half to finish the game with a 2-point lead. Number 2, make your free throws. The Buffs shot only 4 free throws out of 20 plus against Utah in January, which is pretty embarrassing. Number 3, rebounds. We've talked about it all season, and we have seen some improvements, but we still need to step it up. We hope to see the Buffs get that win on Saturday at their final in-season game.
Well, so far it's all we've been talking about, and basketball had to come to an end at home. But the Buffs still had a battle for the postseason. Zach Medell, Forrest Cobble, and Audrey Rodriguez are in studio to break down the next couple of weeks and what the Buffs may have next.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Double Team. I'm Zach Medell. I'm joined here by Forrest Cobble and Audrey Rodriguez. Today we're going to talk a little bit about basketball and their venture into the postseason. So Audrey, as the Buffs are preparing for the postseason, how do you think that they need to prepare in this last game?
All right, well, Zach, the Buffs right now are 5th place in the Pac-12. A win at Utah and Salt Lake on Saturday night would be huge. Utah's the one team that handed us a loss at home, and we could be the one team that handed them a loss on Saturday. So I think that's a big thing we need to accomplish on Saturday, and redemption is the key. Utah is ranked 13th in the country right now, and if we can beat them, then that would be huge for our team.
Yeah, so obviously a big momentum swing. Number 13th ranked Utah in Utah. If we're able to win that, that's huge. Forrest, what do you think that the Buffs need to do in order to actually come out of Salt Lake with a win?
Yeah, well, like you said, Utah, one of the best teams in the country. Really the centerpiece of that team is Jacob Podol. He's really what's holding that team together in the face of some struggling guards. Even though they're a relatively old team, he's really the only consistent player there. So what I'm looking for the Buffs to do is take him out of the game. In the last 2 games the Buffs have played, you've seen Josh Scott and Wesley Gordon play very well, both defensively as a team and very aggressively on the boards and on offense. And what you saw, even though Arizona lost the game against Utah a couple of days ago, in the second half they played really well in the front court against Podol because Anderson, Tarczewski, they all played physically, they all played hard, and it was too much for Podol to handle because there were so many of them and because it was so consistent. So that's what I'm looking for Scott and Gordon to do. I think that's the key to the game.
Yeah, so like you said, I think Josh Scott and I think all of our big players need to step up in a big way. But that's all the time we have here for today. I'm Zach Maydell, joined by Forrest Cobble and Audrey Rodriguez. Back to you guys.
CU women's basketball player Kennedy Leonard was voted Pac-12 All-Freshman Team earlier this week and was named the Pac-12 Freshman of the Week last month. Not only do we have a rising star on the women's basketball team, but on the men's basketball team, we have a tough goodbye ahead. Josh Scott was named Pac-12 Conference Player of the Week. This weekly honor is the second time being awarded to Scott. This season, Scott has also been receiving extra attention due to getting a season high on 26 points in the win over Arizona, a top 10 ranked team. Both Leonard and Scott continue to help their team succeed in the very challenging and competitive Pac-12 conference. Keep it up, guys.
Well, by now you know home basketball games had to come to an end. But our very own Aaron Sullivan went around campus to check in with students and learn what they thought were the best moments from this season in this week's Man on the Street.
Hey there, Buff fans. This is Aaron Sullivan for this week's Man on the Street. The men's basketball team just finished up their last home game, and we'll be reflecting with students on their favorite memories from the season.
What's your favorite part of attending a basketball game?
Definitely the energy. The last 5 minutes of a basketball game are pretty hard to beat in any other sporting event.
The atmosphere that the students create there, no matter what the game, there's just lots of support. Everyone's there cheering. Everyone gets really dressed up.
I just went to one last Wednesday, stormed the door for the first time. It was pretty amazing. I've never do that before.
So what do you think about the costumes you see?
I think some of them are pretty funny, definitely in the C unit. They go all out there.
I don't think any opposing team should ever make a single free throw.
Person in the Speedo, not great.
So if you could pick one halftime performance to happen, like last week they had dogs catching frisbees, what would you pick?
I think once I went and there was like these little kids doing really crazy gymnastics tricks.
I saw this lady during a Warriors game who would throw plates from her foot on a one of those giant unicycles onto her head. That was amazing.
That's impressive. I have to find that somewhere on this campus. I'm sure someone knows how.
Tupac hologram, absolutely, 100%.
Good one.
Yeah.
Well, I sure wouldn't mind Tupac being at a halftime performance. And it looks like the Buff fans really do predict a bright future for the boys in the Pac-12 tournament. I'm Aaron Sullivan with this week's Man on the Street. Back to you guys.
This week's trivia question is, of course, in relation to our men's basketball team. The question is, what year did the Buffs win the first conference tournament championship? We will give you a hint. Our final game of the tournament was against Arizona, and we won 53-51. Keep watching to find out the answer at the end of the show.
Coming up after the break, we will let you know about some Buffs who have run through some amazing accomplishments.
And the rivalry in-state lives on as tennis is about to take on CSU. We'll give you all the details next.
Enforcement agents. Last year, she helped convict 90 drug dealers, seized several tons of crack and marijuana, and closed down 10 major drug operations. She is a 68-year-old grandmother named Irma. She set up a community drug watch that is not only changing her neighborhood, but its future. There are many ways to help in your community. Call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
Lewis and Clark, great explorers. Hey, wait. Hi, I'm Thomas Jefferson. Would you check out the West for me? Oh, sure. And they take their keelboat up the Missouri. Oh, Buffalo. Then they built Fort Mandan. They're at 1804. Made some friends along the way. I'm Sacagawea. Through the Columbia Gorge. Ah!
There are tons of ways to help with your kids' learning. Find the really good ones on connectforkids.org.
The sweet Pacific Ocean. Yeah!
One of the voices of the Buffs. Catch one of the voices of the Buffs, Joe. Or
say the voice of the Buffs.
Yeah.
You believe this guy?
Are you trying to start a wildfire?
Sorry.
Pass the honey?
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We have talked a lot about this Colorado tennis player for the past few weeks, but sophomore Tina Bakua continues to succeed dramatically. She recently ranked number 110 in the latest Intercollegiate Tennis Association NCAA Division I singles. It is the second consecutive poll she has ranked in after being ranked 42nd on February 10th. Her record this season is 13-6, including 7-1 at the number 1 singles position. CU Tennis stays at home this week, playing against Colorado State. Good luck, guys.
The team is finally back on their home court this weekend. As we just said, they will take on the other school in Colorado. Reporter Jessica Maltnick has the story.
The Colorado in-state rival continues. In head-to-head sport competitions this year, the Buffaloes lead with 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie against the Colorado State Rams. And the CU tennis team is hoping to keep the Buffs on top. While none of the players are natives of Colorado, they still understand the importance of a win against CSU.
I feel like there's a big build-up. Everyone I tell that we're playing CSU says, oh, you guys have to win, it's the biggest rivalry, so I'm really pumped.
The team is 30-0 in program history against the Rams, including a 7-0 win last year in Fort Collins. But the Buffs aren't ready to let up yet.
So we've been doing a lot of routine drills with doubles and singles, and that's helping a lot. Like today we had a great day of practice with singles, and tomorrow we're going to be playing a lot of doubles. So I think just working on the basics will help going into next weekend and then starting Pac-12 matches.
Their focus this week was on mental preparation. Coach Keneally says despite the added pressure of the in-state rivalry, it's just another match.
So we have the respect that they're going to come out and play their best tennis. We expect of ourselves to come out and play our best tennis. If we compete hard, I like our chances.
The squad is coming off a month-long road trip, and with the addition of a bye last week, they're ready for the competition to recommence.
It was really nice having a 1-week break, and now we've been practicing and competing with each other this week and practicing our drills and our routines, and we're really prepared to beat CSU this weekend.
Buffaloes, Buffaloes, go CU! All right, let's do this. Racket me. The Buffs take on CSU at 11 a.m. So come out, show the team some love, and make a lot of racket. Too much? Reporting for SportsMag, I'm Jessica Maltnick.
Wow, what a stand-up. Well, as for other CU sports who have defeated CSU this year, of course football and men's basketball, and then women's soccer had a tie, and women's basketball lost in a last-second shot. So, tennis, go out and get them.
The Buff ski team takes second at the 67th REMSA Championship. The top 10 skiers consisted of all CU athletes, and there were 4 podium appearances. Buff coach Richard Rockos states how even when the Buffs have multiple skiers out due to injury, they were less than 30 points behind the winning team. He said it's a good place to be and a confidence builder. The Buffs will host the NCAA Championship in Steamboat Springs March 9th through the 12th. See you there, Buffs.
It was another dominant week for the CU men's and women's track and field team as they finished the regular season with really strong. The team had 3 athletes win races at the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation. On the women's side, Mackenzie Caldwell and Erin Clark won both the 5K and the 3K, posting some of the fastest times in CU history. This is Clark's first MPSF win and second conference title. Pierce Murphy won the 3K for the men on his way to his first conference title.
5 of our fellow Buffs have qualified for the NCAA Track and Field Championships in Birmingham, Alabama, on March 11th and 12th. On the men's side, we have seniors Pierce Murphy, Morgan Pearson, and Connor Winter. And for the females, we have sophomore Caitlin Burney and Erin Clark. The men's 5K is scheduled for Friday, March 11th, kicking off at 8:05 p.m., while both the women and men's 3K will take place on Saturday, March 12th. Let's get those legs moving, Buffs.
Well, coming up after the break, we'll take a look at one Buff who is not only making a difference, but saving a life.
We'll also let you know about a youth program that is really influencing some children. All that and more next.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Good nutrition can lead to great things. Find out how a healthy lifestyle can help your child succeed.
Yeah, how dope was that party last night, man? Yeah, no. Wait, I can't really. You're breaking up. Lost service. Yeah, no, and then he shoved me, and I was like, that's not cool. And so I just rocked him, and it was tight. It was a total dime piece, man. Took her back to my place, had a few drinks, you know what I mean. And after all of that, she told me she had a kid, and I'm not trying to be any part of that right there, you know what I mean? It was a crazy.
Pay close attention to this next announcement. CU football fans, spring season for the Buffs has officially started. Their first scrimmage is scheduled for Wednesday, March 16th. The Buffs will start their workouts in the new indoor practice facilities. The football staff is also allowing 2 practices to be watched by the public, Friday, March 11th and Saturday, April 9th. Good luck to the CU football team as they tackle the spring season.
Since football is once again on our radars, and while it may not be the regular season, the Buffs are already undergoing some changes. Here to give us the lowdown is Alex Doyle in this week's Buff Banter.
What's up, Buff fans? I'm Alex Doyle, and it is time for Buff Banter. Today's topic is football. I know for most of you, the football season seems like it is still months away, but believe it or not, it's actually starting right now. The team's first practice was Wednesday morning, and the first scrimmage is scheduled for March 15th. Even though the new athletic facilities that have been under construction are now complete, the team will have their practices on the lower field for now and will move to the new indoor field if weather dictates. Coach McIntyre is excited to get going again, but noted that there will be some key players missing from the spring ball practices. Among those missing will be quarterback Sefo Lufau, who is still recovering from his season-ending foot injury. Coach Mack says that his QB is making progress every day, but recovering from a Lisfranc injury is a time-consuming process, and the team is hoping that Lufau will be back in the lineup in August. Also missing is Sefo's backup, Cade Apsay, who was released from the team for violating team policies. Also released for the same reason was Evan White. Apsay's absence could be a great opportunity for sophomore to be Steven Montez, whom Coach Mack says shows a lot of promise but needs more reps. We look forward to football season and wish the team luck. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have this week. So back to you guys at the desk.
Defensive end Derek McCarthy won't be practicing with the team this week, but don't fret, it's for a valid reason. McCartney will be participating in a program that Coach McIntyre created himself. It's called Be the Match, and it's a program that helps patients with life-threatening blood cancers find a match for bone marrow transplant. 350 to 450 students have applied for this program this year. And guess what? Who was a match? That's right, Derek McCartney. He'll be donating his precious bone marrow this week. Well, it's now time that we take a look back at this past week and give what we believe is the good, the bad, and the ugly plays. Although this week, we're going to switch it up. In honor of the Buffs, we want to look at the good, the better, and the best moments of the week.
Indoor practice facility, which is really good because that means no more smelly bubble sweat.
And of course, there's always the better, which we would really like to put out in honor to the women's lacrosse team who had their first home game Thursday afternoon. And guess what, guys? They beat James Madison University 15-14 in overtime.
Finally, the best moment of the week has to go back to basketball and the win against ASU in the final home game of the season. And of course, the honoring of the 4 amazing seniors who have contributed so much to the team over the years. It seems almost like the end of an era. And soon enough, we will be honoring our own seniors here at SportsMag for everything they've done over the years. Youth hockey is a growing sport in the state of Colorado. Kaylee Fisher from our affiliate News Team Boulder has more of the future of the sport in our state.
Woodland Park, Colorado. This little Rocky Mountain town is home to one of the best youth hockey teams in the state. These little Pee Wee Stars have had a near-perfect season. They're undefeated in league play and have won 3 tournament championships over larger metro area teams, something the Panthers haven't done in years.
The team just gets along so great, and it's just that everybody's just willing to work and not hold back or anything.
The team's chemistry is a big factor in their success this season.
I like all the players and how we know how each other play, and so that benefits how we play. We know how to pass, skate, and score goals.
Everyone thinks of Colorado as a mountain state, but now people are beginning to identify hockey with the state. Who would have thought of Colorado as a hockey state? But the rise of youth hockey, especially in Colorado, is giving the mountains a run for its money. Hockey has been on the rise since the 90s and has more than doubled in participation from under 200,000 to 500,000 in 2013. And specific to Colorado, over 13,000 kiddos are registered to play. Head coach Jed Bowman says hockey teaches something that can only be learned from youth sports.
It teaches our young people the skills and ability to collaborate, work together, and to work through adversity and to learn how to be part of a team.
The Pee Wee Panthers are part of a larger trend of youth hockey that is taking over the state of Colorado, but has also turned Woodland Park into a little town with a big hockey heart. Kaylee Fisher, News Team Boulder.
Coming up after the break, we'll finally give you the answer to that trivia question we know you've been sweating over.
And of course, the rundown of all the events taking place this weekend in our fastest segment, Rapid Fire. So don't go anywhere.
Flaming hot segment of Rapid Fire with me, Ansley Guthrie, coming up, so stay tuned.
400 million cups of coffee every day. They don't realize with every caffeine-filled cup, they're drinking their way to many harmful side effects. Caffeine interferes with the body's hormones, leading to... And don't forget jitteriness, upset stomachs, and disrupted sleep. With caffeine, going to the bathroom is the least of your problems.
Honey, the credit fairy doesn't exist.
What?
It's make-believe. Nobody left anything under your pillow.
If there's no credit fairy, then we'll make our credit score go on.
We will, by doing things like paying our bills on time.
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
What?
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Well, it's finally time for one of my favorite segments of the show. Ansley Guthrie is in studio to catch us all up on the bus event this weekend. in this edition of Rapid Fire.
Hey guys, it's time for this week's Flamin' Hot segment of Rapid Fire. I'm Ansley Guthrie here to tell you all about the upcoming sporting events this week. First up, we have men's basketball versus Utah. This game is going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah on Saturday, March 5th with tip-off set to be 7:30 p.m. The game is going to be on ESPNU, so tune in to cheer on your Buffs. Women's basketball is going to be following up closely behind the men on Saturday night, but they are going to be in Seattle, Washington playing the Huskies. That game is going to be on the Pac-12 Network starting at 9:30 p.m. If the women beat the Washington Huskies on Saturday night, they will then be playing again the next night on March 6th against Stanford Cardinal. This game is going to be on ESPN with tip-off set to be 7 p.m. And then lastly, you have women's golf playing all day, March 7th and 8th, for the Bay Area Intercollegiate Match. And there you have it, folks, your upcoming games for this week's edition of Rapid Fire. I'm Ansley Guthrie, and back to you guys at the desk.
Now I know you have all been waiting to hear the answer to this week's trivia question. If you forgot the question, here's a refresher. We asked, what year did the Buffs win their first conference tournament championship? And the answer is 2012. That was actually the Buffs' first year in the Pac-12 conference. After that, the Buffs won an invitation to play in the NCAA tournament where they beat UNLV the second round before unfortunately losing to Baylor in the third.
Well, this week's Tweet of the Week is a little bit sentimental. Senior Josh Scott tweeted after his final home game with the Buffs, "Thanks to everyone who has made the past 4 years in Boulder so special. Bittersweet. Proud to have ever been a Buff. Well, Josh, we will forever be proud to call you a Buff and are really excited to see what your future holds. But in all honesty, I know where he's coming from. Being a senior myself, this is feeling extremely bittersweet as we are all, and always will be, forever Buffs." Allie, I really love sports so much, especially CU sports.
Me too. I think that's all of our CU sports are going to do well when they start playing this season.
I know, we have basketball, we have tennis, we have skiing, we have track and field. I really feel another championship coming this year for CU. And that would, our year to add to our tally.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that really is all the time that we have today.
But we will be back next week with all the latest news about your favorite teams.
So, in the meantime, be sure to go outside and, maybe see a lacrosse game. Like, maybe the one where our own Joe Paris calls.
Yeah, catch one of the voices of the Buffs, Joe. Or if you can't, just have an awesome weekend. And we will see you next time.